let me just, we're live right now. So that's perfect. This is an unusual scenario for once. We got Jeff in the building, but unfortunately he's having some crazy technical difficulties. But
Yeah.
that's the industry we're in. As you can see, we got the legendary coach Padman McGriff. And I have to say the legendary because his stories are legendary, his career is legendary. And I'm so grateful that he's the first guest on this new series we call Coach's Confessions. We're gonna have him like maybe hopefully once a week, weekly. Hopefully depends on a coach's availability. But yeah, man, it's great. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. What's good?
I'm always gonna be here for you guys, man. You know, so I look for this. I look for this to go years and years down the road. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm grateful that you have that appreciation and that acceptance of us because we're still quite in the embryonic stages of our career in terms of like what we're trying to do. So for someone with the years and the portfolio that you have in the business, it's quite, I would say, satisfying when you're showing us so much acceptance. So thank you.
You know, it's I had to learn to be humble, you know, because I wasn't accepted because people looked at me like, you know, image versus character. People don't know you, so they assume things. You know, those are the ones that are followers and not leaders in this business. So coaches have to understand that in this business, we are training somebody to hurt somebody in this business. And it's
Yeah,
the
of
hurt
course.
business. You know, it's the hurt business. And I love what I do for a living. There's always going to be controversy, ups and downs in this business because that's how it works in this business. Either you're a yes or you're a no. You know?
Yeah, of course. I get you, definitely. I mean, before we kick off with the questions, I want to say a big shout out to Bruce Scholes because he was with us on the last live when we were having technical difficulties and he really kind of helped us. So shout out to Bruce Scholes for that. But getting down to the nitty
Shout out to
gritty,
him too as well.
yeah, peace out, bro. Definitely. He's a proper follower of the channel. So yeah, but coach, I want to start with your beginning of your career and how you got into boxing point blank period, not just coaching, but point blank like boxing on the whole. How you got into it?
You know, when I was a kid, I was just always active. Mini bikes, go-karts, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling. You know, me and all my brothers, we played sports. And then I did martial arts for a while. And, you know, it gave me self-discipline in the business. And, you know, I just had a good time. I had a good time growing up, man. I did. I played all sports. I got into boxing when I came to Vegas. I had came to Vegas to actually, you know, be a comedian. But I laugh at my old jokes. So, and then there were some other discrepancies with it, you know, and I've always wanted to box because I still was very active at the age of 32. So I went into Johnny Taco's gym, Johnny Taco's ringside gym in Las Vegas in 94, 95, man. And I trained hard just to learn how to box so I could become a good coach. You know, some fighters become
So,
boxers because
so
that's what
you
they.
actually so you actually came into boxing, and this is quite funny because I I would say I don't want to degrade you, but it's very similar to me because I came into boxing as like from a like I've always loved boxing from my oldest childhood memory is boxing, but I actually started to box because I wanted to know how like I feel like it's impossible to be like a critic or boxing pundit without knowing how it is to be in the ring. So
Yes.
is that similar for you? Like you felt like it was impossible to be a coach without being a
Yeah,
fighter.
for sure. That's true because the opportunities that I had for that, I really felt like I could have been a good fighter, but I had a few injuries. You know, we all suffer through some injuries, but I still fight through it. And I was moving along 6 months, 8 months in. I was sparring with Murky Sosa helped me a lot. Cuban guy, Murky Sosa, great champion pedigree fighter from back in the days. I had help with him, from him. Rocky Gannon helped me a lot. James
Did
Thunder.
you ever? Did you turn professional?
No, I didn't even turn professional because I was already at the age of 32, and I felt like, well, I'm making somewhere around $1,000 to $1,500 a week as a sparring partner, and they wanted to give me a fight for $600 at the Frontier Hotel. And I was like, why would I waste my time for $600 when I'm making $1,500 a week?
Yeah, I get you.
So, you know, I wasn't getting beat up. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing.
What weight class was you at that time?
I was a 175. I was a light heavyweight.
Wow.
I was a light
Okay.
heavyweight. I had great hands, but you know, I knew I was too old to be in the business to come along and have any success in it. So I said, I'll just take it to another level. I'll learn it, and I learned it for years just to be able to be a coach. So coaches coach.
So you knew from the start you wanted to be a coach.
That's what I wanted to do. That's what I really wanted to do, because at the time I was in process of, you know, a bad relationship. My marriage was going downhill, and I needed to find something else to relieve stress. So I made boxing my sanctum. You know what I mean? So I took it and ran with it, and I think I went as far as I could go without having to fight. Now I'm, you know, I'll be 56 years old, and I'm willing to take a fight now, like somewhere in Mexico, just to see, as a bucket list, just to see. And I think I would do well.
Wow.
I still spar now. I still stay in shape. You know, I was
That's
285.
really
I was 285. I'm 240, 245 now. And I'm really healthy now than I've ever have been. You know, but you know, I still got injuries.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. I was gonna ask you though, how did you? So you spoke about from the moment you became a fighter, you wanted to be a coach.
Yeah.
And I want to say, once you obviously were a sparring partner, how did you make the transition from becoming a sparring partner to actually becoming a trainer? Like, talk to me through that method and that process.
Well, first of all, I had to find out what it was like to get hit. That's the first thing. What it was like to get hit. Can I take it? Am I going to listen to my coach? Am I going to bite down my chin strap? Am I going to be tough? And the whole thing is a mindset about getting hit. As far as being a coach, I've studied enough. I mean, I probably got at least I can't even tell you how many hours that I've put into watching old school fighters like Jersey Joe Wilcott, Sugar Ray Robertson, Ken Norton, Larry Holmes, you know, some of the best fighters in the world, you know, even Rocky Marciano. They were great competitors of the business and champions in this business, you know. So I studied them a lot, and I watched them as I grew up, watched them fighting on TV. So I've always wanted to do it. When I lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, they didn't have the right facilities to either be a boxer. It was always a pick and choose thing, who had the talent. That's what they would mess with. They wouldn't mess with anybody that wasn't already in the sport already. And it's still the same way now.
I get you.
Still the same way, you know?
What I find, like, this is what you probably would have understood, and I want to get like extreme clarity on it, because you can have the knowledge as you obviously have, but how does that manifest? Like, because it's about someone giving you that chance, giving you that opportunity. So how did you get that opportunity to become a coach? Because it's easy for you to have the knowledge, but for you to then be able to coach someone has to put faith in you. So talk to me and tell me how that happened.
Well, I had the time. First thing I did was I got clean. I've been sober for 12 years. going on 13 years. I got sober. I wanted to work with the kids to see how I would do, because if you can train kids, you can train anybody, because kids will get on your nerves. If you can take it, you're okay with it. Once I figured out that I can train kids, I started moving myself up the ranks. So I started actually traveling to other countries on vacation, take my pads. So
Yeah, I get you.
I'm in other countries looking for gyms just to see what my talent is like.
I
Just to
get
see
you. I
how
get you.
just to see how they would accept me. Trust me, I spent money on my career.
I mean, that's motivation in itself, because you realize that the only person that was gonna back you was yourself. So you just put money behind yourself and
I
backed
put
yourself.
money.
So I
That's
feel,
what I did. And I went to different countries until I started getting paid. I started getting paid to go to these countries. But before that, my first big opportunity was Kenny Lunkin's 5-time world champion. Angelo Dundee used to train him. He had just got out of jail for doing 6 years, did a 6-year bid. And they were looking for someone to do pads with him for some HBO documentary. So I was like, okay, cool. I knew somebody that knew him, made the connection. And we trained together for 2 months. We almost killed each other. Because you've been in jail for 6 years, so styles change.
yeah,
You're not going to go back to the old school Angelo Dundee way. I mean, yeah, that's fine, but it's a new era in this boxing business. You got gladiators. Some of them got unleaded gas, and some of them got supremium unleaded. You know,
yeah, I get you. I get
so
you. I mean,
you
that's
know,
something that's something that you use a lot, and that's something that you talk about a lot. That unleaded gas and supremium unleaded. I get obviously that's a fantastic analogy and a fantastic example. When you talk about that situation in itself, I mean, that has to be one of the most craziest situations ever, for it to be your first big opportunity for you to work with
oh,
a fighter.
it was
Explain that to me. I don't even want to talk too much. Just explain that to me.
actually, there's videos on my YouTube on Padman McGriff. There's videos of me and Kenny Lunkin. I think there's
Go
like,
subscribe. Go subscribe.
yeah, Padman McGriff or Padman Boxing Gym. But me and him, like, I learned a lot from him, even though we argued every day or whatever. And then after that, it started taking off a little bit more. And then I ran into former UFC fighter Marcus Brimage. They used to call him Bama. He fought McGregor. The same guy, Lost Legacy MMA and martial arts, one of my best friends. He connected me with Marcus Brimage. Marcus Brimage, we worked so hard for his fights. He's the one that gave me the name Pad, man. That's how I got the name.
Oh wow, that's a very good story, to be honest. Because I thought you always got it from boxing, so that's a good story to know.
Yeah. After that, I started getting business from other fighters, and I started to see the hatred from. I was getting better, and you see more hatred from other coaches that
I
don't like.
mean, I'm gonna get to that in the back end, because I'm gonna like worm my way through, but I'm gonna take a big jump. The reason I'm gonna take a big jump is because I saw something quite relevant on your Instagram. So we're gonna talk about that. The
Oh yeah.
Teofimo Lopez Padman. Let's talk about Teofimo Lopez on a whole. Talk to me about your experience working with Teofimo Lopez and how that went about, because Teofimo Lopez I mean, he was a young kid at the time, and now
Yeah.
he's undisputed champion. So talk to me about that and how
Uh,
that came about and your experience working with
I
him.
think it was like 2014. I was working at a gym, and I had met his father prior to that at a boxing match that one of my fighters was at in the amateurs. And he seen me doing pads. He was like, "Can you do pads for my son?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool." And then we didn't get a chance to work at the tournament. But then he called me up and came to the gym that I had just started working at, and we just had the most amazing. Oh man, just like I forget that word that I'm trying to use.
We got Paul.
The synchronize of me and him doing pads instantly, right away, connecting. It was just totally incredible. The kid is so intelligent, so smart. I look for him to dominate and be champion for a while because.
How long did you work with him for?
Oh, like 5 years. Like 5 years. And I bless his dad all the time for giving me the opportunity always.
I look at that and I look at him and he's still kind of, I mean, when you would have worked with him, I saw that video, he looked quite young. I mean, he still kind of uses that same kind of pad style technique that I know. I'm gonna get into the pad styles in a second because I'm a big fan of actually technique. But he still kind of uses the same thing that you taught him in that same combination because he still kind of uses it. So, I mean, you probably still have an everlasting effect on his career. Would you say so?
You know, that's a blessing just for somebody to even say, because I mean, I don't have like a great relationship or a bad relationship with them. I just don't have communication with them. I'm just doing me and they're doing them. You know what I mean? Like, we're okay. You know, I'm okay with them guys.
How did that split happen?
Well, he went further in his career and he was more further away from me. So he was traveling a lot and I had other clients. But believe me, if his father says, you know, come and go with us and we're going to do this, I'd have been like, okay, for sure. Not a problem. But just because it didn't happen doesn't mean I'm not good enough to train him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, of course. Of course. It's just, as you said, it's just different directions.
Yeah.
I mean, before the Vasyl Lomachenko fight, did you think Teofimo was going to win?
I told everybody he's going to dominate him. I told everybody he's going to dominate him. And I says, when he gets close, all he has to do is push him. And that's exactly what his father told him in the corner. If he gets close, push him. Because Lomachenko fights on the inside. He's a master at fighting on the inside. But mid-range, he can't do nothing. If he's on the end of somebody's punch, he drops his hands. Hand placement is a problem. Nobody's finished yet. You got to have your hands up at all times. It's a hands-up business, you know. So
I want to just say quickly, salute to Bruce Scholes for jumping back in the live. I mean, thank you for staying patient with us before. But yeah, I want to say this. This is a fight that's
hold on, your mic is going out. Hold on, your mic is going out a little bit. It's cloudy. No. Okay.
What about now? Please tell me you can hear me.
Now I can hear you.
That's dope. Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Devin Haney. You seen Devin Haney in the Mayweather gym, and you trained Teofimo Lopez. How did that fight go?
You know, they sparred together. They both did very well. Like, when you go into Mayweather's gym, you got to just be careful that you don't put on a show. It's not a real fight. It's sparring. Sparring is supposed to be practice. Things you work on.
Of course.
You know, sometimes you can get caught up in the mindset and say, okay, fuck this. I'm gonna start rumbling hard. No, sparring is for working on whatever your coaches teach you. You don't have to show off it for anybody, you know. And
of course,
they're both good, great fighters. Their careers are going to go a long way, regardless wins or loss. Their careers are going to go a long way, and they're going to make plenty of money.
Who won the spot?
I can't tell you.
You have to. You have to. Because this isn't what's it called? This is coach's confession. So you've signed it. This is what I said to Jeff when I came up with this name. Any coach that comes on the channel, it's like you've been interrogated by the police and you decided to snitch. So it's time for you to confess. You understand? So you don't have to tell me. Just tell me who did it. Tell me who done the worst. That's what you need to tell me.
I wasn't there.
So you're pleading the fifth.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
All
I
right, so
just heard about it.
I'll let you off with that one. I'll let you off with that one. I'll
Yeah,
let
I
you off with
wasn't
that
there,
one.
man. I wasn't
If
at that
they
one.
fought, who wins? Who wins? If they fight right now, who wins the fight?
And to be on it, like the true side and being honest, I love them both. They're both great fighters. You know, I've been looking for the opportunity to work with Devin Haney because I know that him on the pads with me, he can go raw, hard. That's what he needs. He needs to finish his punches. He's a great fighter, and he can become a champion, man. He's already a champion, but he can hold on to that belt for a while. As far as Teofimo is driven totally different, and I think if they fought, I think it would be a great fight. But I think like on the for real side, not picking a person because I know them both. I think Teofimo would win on a split decision because of the jab. He knows how to chase his jab, and he knows how to space his feet. You know, I don't see Devin Haney a lot using his feet because he's a power puncher. He likes to come to you and give it to you. So I think if Devin Haney worked more on his boxing and not exploding so much,
Yeah,
I think he would remain a champion. I think he just
that's
needs to box. He just needs to box sometimes instead of kill. Like I've learned
yeah,
how to train fighters like him because I teach them how to do pads and set them up kill. Even on the bag, you can sit there and practice and practice and practice. But if you don't have a setup to throw that hard shot, then that's a problem in your career. Like you're going to get tested. You're going to get hit on the chin and get tested because you done gave it all so much. Now you got to really think about saying to yourself, okay, let me box for a little while until time is right. Let me set it up. And I'm telling you, Devin Haney got a lot of talent, man. If he continues his success and stays smart, he'll do well. But most of the time,
I,
they won't let fighters like him and Teofimo and Tank Davis match up because it's always about money. It's always about money.
okay. Bruce Scholes, I'm gonna get to your question. I just want to get some questions also. Keep the questions pumping through. But what I was gonna say to you about something else though was in the Mayweather gym, there tends to be like a stigma attached to a lot of these fighters, and they're supposed to be because of Mayweather and the awe of Mayweather. They're supposed to be this defensive genius. In your time in the Mayweather camp, who were you overly impressed with? I'm talking about every weight class. Who were you overly impressed with, and who did you believe was just a straight hype job?
Wow, that's a good question because I don't want to say nobody. You know what I mean? But I looked at most of the fighters that he really had. They were, average fighters, just average fighters looking to pad their record to make money. I mean, Floyd's a smart guy. You got some really decent fighters. You got Lonnie B, you got Cash, you got Kevin Newman. Those are great. Those are all decent fighters. You got um, Angelo Leo. You know, he just won a belt, but he lost the belt when he defended his belt and
Stephen
lost.
Fulton. Stephen
Yeah, he
Fulton just
lost.
beat him.
Say that again.
Stephen Fulton just beat him.
Yeah. So just average fighters to me, because I go to the gym. I was going to the gym every day for 3 years. So I looked at them as just average fighters. Uh, I'm always going to be impressed with fighters, but to really impress me, I got to really, really see something. I got to really see something that says to myself, wow, that's a champion pedigree fighter, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to give that title to some of those fighters from there because I worked there every day. Even with, Sharif Bulgari, trained him for 3 years. We worked our asses off, and then you lose a fight, and then now what's your next step? You're 33-2. You know, I'm not sure what he wants to do, but the biggest thing for him is conditioning. The physical appearance needs to be better. He can box all he wants, but to be physically fit plus box probably is more dominant for him by being stretched, working on the weights, working on your sprints, working on your feet, everything. You just cannot separate it and say, I'm just going to work on this and then take a fight. There's no such thing.
Of course not. Of course
you got to
not.
have a camp. Most of the fighters that come into camp with me, they don't even finish because I'm a different kind of animal when it comes to camp.
I'm going to get down to your training methods because Jeff will tell you, I wish he was here. I am one of the biggest, I probably follow so much trainers because I only care about training methods and how different trainers get down to business. I'm gonna get to that. I want to crack out some of the Mayweather stories quickly. So could you tell me what is some of the craziest Mayweather stories that you've experienced being there in the gym for 3 years?
You know, I didn't really focus on too much on them because I was there for my own destiny.
Of course.
That's the honest to God's truth. You know, stuff used to happen in there and I would just keep training. You know, fighters would come in, talk shit on other fighters. I want to fight you. Next thing you know, they're head to head. What's that guy? KSI, is that his name?
KSI, yeah. KSI.
KSI was in the gym and Logan came in there. They was just at each other, like sign the papers. So he brought a paper down for him to sign, and KSI ripped the paper up. Next thing you know, I look on YouTube, it's like 1 million hits on it. Now I'm in the background saying, "You gonna bust your gun?" What you gonna do, dog? You gonna bust your gun?
But with all of that, when KSI was in the gym, did he ever spar any of the fighters?
I think he sparred him at City Boxing. He sparred with one guy. I can't remember that guy's name. He was like at the time he was way out of shape, and he did it for the creds. He did it for the creds, you know. And KSI fucked him up pretty good, but like I said, he did it for the creds.
Yeah, I get
credits. You getting paid for some credits. You get some. I'm not taking a dive. I don't care. Yeah, sure, I'll take a dive. I'm gonna let your ass have it.
I get you. What did you think of the other trainers there? Because like some of the trainers like Otis Pimpleton, Floyd Senior, like how did you rate their training methods and like what they were doing with their fighters?
Same style, all original. Same style that been going on in that gym for years. And when I came to that gym, I felt like I brought something different to the table, but they didn't. They didn't like that. They didn't like that. Well, I didn't care. They didn't like it. I was there to make money. You know what I mean? I had an opportunity because Mayweather Senior was the one that told me to come down to the gym. And Jeff Mayweather was the one like, yeah, come down to the gym. Come work at our gym. Come train in our gym. You know, when I got there, there was some coaches. They were like, well, you can train here, but don't train none of the TMT guys. Well, guess what? The TMT fighters was coming to me. So
yeah,
I figured it was an opportunity. I'm sorry. You know?
Yeah, I get you.
Gave me an opportunity. So I started training a couple of, TMT fighters. Once I started training Sharif, he turned me on to Dabiti, and then somebody else turned me on to Jarvis Holyfield, and a couple other fighters. And, then some of the family members in the Mayweather family was mad at me about it because I was making bank. And I was like, damn, what you want me to give you half of my check?
Why did you leave the gym? Why did you end up leaving and doing your own thing?
Well, the pandemic hit. Once the pandemic hit, he closed the gym down, and I still had clients that I needed to train. So I built a complete boxing gym in my home, and that was probably the best thing I ever did.
So
I
you've
don't
been
do.
out working out of you, well, working from your house since the pandemic.
Yep, since the pandemic.
I mean,
Yep.
that must be. Is that not awkward? Because like, how does it work over there? Do you invite fighters over to your house, or how does that work? Like, how do you dedicate your like undivided attention to a fighter in the middle of your house? Is that a bit awkward?
It's so much better because there's no distractions. There's no one around you. It's work time. You step up on my property, it's work time. Like I'm all about taking care of business. It's the same as when I do conditioning camp. I give you an obstacle course. That obstacle course takes 10 minutes. I expect you to keep going. And I expect your time to be better every time on that obstacle
Wow.
course. So
Wow.
that's what I do. It's a heavy jump rope, it's sit-ups, push-ups, sprints, climbing the ladder rope, all kind of things. Bands. I put them in an obstacle course, and it takes 10 minutes. So if it takes 10 minutes, I expect you to beat that time. I did the course myself. That's why I know it takes 10 minutes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. With your name Padman, and I have to get down to it, then Pad works. And I've seen so much different fighters and their method of how they do pad work. And I want to ask you, and this is something me and Jeff discuss all the time, we go back and forth about. Do you prefer sequence pad work, or sequence and synchronized pad work, or how can I say, like, random pad work? When I mean random, I mean, when guys like, where it's just become a pattern, where they just do the same routine over and over again. You prefer that, or you prefer like random, like hand by hand kind of, where they don't know what's happening? That's the
Yeah,
best way to put it.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm describing myself
I'm
well.
more into having a fighter figure out my hand gestures. Once we get to know each other, I make combinations. There's certain gestures that I do. He'll know that combination. He or she will know that combination. That was the big thing to me when I was at Mayweather's gym. Like, me and Floyd Sr., we was top-notch best friends. I don't see him as much because, he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing. But if you look at all his videos, it's the same routine. I don't want to be that type of person. Yeah, and I know he's older. He's a celebrity. And people want to work with him because he's a celebrity. But you got to have coaches that's going to teach you, not only on the pads, but on the bag. That's what's so important. And the whole thing of it is, if you don't have a good shadow box, if you don't improvise on your shadow box and make a person in front of you that ain't really there, that's a judgment call, what you should be doing when it comes to shadow boxing. A better shadow boxer makes a better fighter. You need that mirror all day because you're punching yourself. So people don't realize it. I see people in the mirror boxing sideways.
I mean, that's a bit crazy. That kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
You should be punching yourself. What are you going to go in the ring and box sideways when you fight? And another thing, why do fighters spar like? Why do they shadow box like this? This is a punching business. Practice it. This is where you should be at all times, even when you shadow box. All the time. These are bricks. These are bricks. I see people shadow something like this. You guys got to cut that shit out. And this.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. I see that.
That's bullshit. Ball your fist up and learn how to have them like bricks. Your hands should be like bricks. You see them knuckles? You see them knuckles? Like
Yeah, I see
bricks.
that. Bro, this is the thing, and this is the thing, another thing about pad work that I find a bit weird. What do you prefer? And a lot of people say it's bad to have your hand, I'm gonna use my left hand, have your hand move towards a punch. Some people just keep their hand out. What do you prefer? That movement, or do you prefer where they meet you? What do you prefer?
I keep mine in front of me at all times. Everything in front of me. All the time. I'm always right here. Uppercuts, hooks.
But are you one of the guys that
Right.
slap? Because I know like there's certain fighters that slap that hand, and there's certain fighters that just keep that. Yeah. Are you one of those ones that prefer that? Which one do you prefer?
If I see somebody doing it, I swear to God, I'm gonna come to the phone and get them. This here is jamming you. You got to be able to have a twitch just as much as the fighter. You got to be able to have a recoil just as much as the fighter. That's a recoil. Those are recoils. Somebody hit your hand's supposed to bounce back. You ain't supposed to stiffen up. You ain't supposed to stiffen up. You're supposed to catch it. You should have this much trajectory after the punch. If you don't, that means the shoulders are staying the same and none of them's turning on the punch.
I'm gonna get to some of the comments quickly. Didn't many fighters correct? This is Bruce Cole. Didn't many fighters get correct? Fighters correct get cut short sparring in the Crunk gym back in the day. Is that true, bro?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's still the average same now. You know, fighters go ham on other fighters while sparring. It happens, man. You know, as far as Crunk's gym, one of the greatest gyms, man, for real. One of the greatest gyms. And the training there is different than anywhere else. I don't know why Detroit is different than anywhere else. It's like Vegas. It's in a class by itself because Vegas is fight capital. We all know Vegas is fight capital.
Yeah.
You know, but Crump Gym is in a class by itself. They got some heavy hitters coming out of there that train a lot of good fighters.
Is it more down to the training style or the environment and the climate, or the actual
environment? It's definitely an environment because you got more tragedy, you got more broken, more poverty in the Detroit area, and it's definitely a way to get them kids out to help them kids.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because I subscribe to the notion that fighters are born and not made. And a lot of people believe that just because you had a tough upbringing, that naturally means you're going to be a good fighter. I don't believe that, but I believe it does aid. It does aid. If a fighter's had a tough upbringing and they've had to fight from young, it does aid your career, but it doesn't automatically mean you're going to be a great fighter. So the fact that you brought up that Crunk gym, you feel like it's because of you said it's because of the environment, but how much is it down to the fact that they're able to transition these kids from off the streets into the ring, or is it just down to the training?
Well, it's also a follow too. People hear success out of it, and they would rather go there because of the success that came out of there.
Makes sense.
So that doesn't mean the trainers are top notch. You can still be a regular trainer. It's how hungry the person is. The person's hungry. Then that's where you can start putting your all in it, and then you learning more and then teaching him more. Because as coaches, we still got to learn always. Because every coach is different. Every fighter's different. If you can't pick apart a fighter, then you can't take nobody from scratch. If you can't pick a fighter apart, you know what I mean? So if a kid walks into your gym, he walks into Kronk's gym, and he wants to learn how to box, they're gonna give you the opportunity, but they're gonna see if your listening skills are prepared for the long haul. You have to be prepared for the long haul if you want to be a fighter in a gym like that. Now, as far as Mayweather's gym, that's a celebrity gym, and he's retired. People come there by the busloads just to see the gym. That's all you're going to get out of that gym. As far as talent goes, most of the good talent don't train there that is signed by TMT. You know.
Would you say then like for a young fighter coming up to not, because I'm like over here, especially in England, people, you know, they look up to Mayweather and obviously the whole Mayweather brand. So would you just say it's not a good idea to go to that gym
It's too
to
advanced.
learn? To learn.
Yeah, it's too advanced for kids. It's too advanced for some adults, you know, even though coaches there want to make money just like other gyms also. But if you're willing, if you want to learn boxing, like Otis Pimpleton, he's there pretty much full time, and he pretty much gets all the business that comes in there. The people that came in there for me knew me from social media from other countries and me training in other countries.
Okay.
It's like, we'll come to Vegas. I'm in Cuba somewhere, and they're like, we'll come down and see you. They come down and see me. People from Spain, they come and see me. So I had that type of following. They had busloads coming in, but I had my own following. And then when them people came there off that bus, the guy would introduce me as Padman to all of them. They would take pictures with me just as well. So I'm not the type of person where I want to feel like I want people to be starstruck on me. No, praise me for my job. Praise me for my job. I want to be praised for what I do for a living because I work so hard at it. I don't need a reputation.
I was gonna read the comment, but yeah, Bruce Groves says, "What do you think of Loma and Nakatami?"
That's gonna be, that would be a thriller. Seriously, that would be a. Nakatami's good, man. You know.
Yeah, he's good. I think he slept on.
I think he would give Lomachenko a run for his money. Honestly, I really do. Because to me, it looks like Lomachenko, not because of Teofimo Lopez beat him. Lomachenko's last couple of fights, he didn't really look good. It looks like he's
not even in the
down.
Campbell fight. Not even in the Campbell fight, he didn't look good neither.
Yeah, it looks like he's going downhill. And then to get a flash knockdown on what was it, the third to the last fight, flash knockdown. That's walking backwards. When do you see Lomachenko? You know,
Linares, wasn't it?
Yeah. When do you see Lomachenko walking backwards? Lomachenko don't usually walk backs. He's turning, punch, turn, punch. You know, he had to walk backwards on Teofimo, man. He couldn't handle that pressure. And I'm guaranteeing you, if there was more time left in that 12th round before that headbutt, he'd have had a TKO against Lomachenko.
Wow.
Guaranteed.
Sule, shout out to Sule, he's in the building. Terence Crawford, my favorite fighter to watch on the pads, turns every punch over and no wasted movements. What do you think of that?
I agree with that. And he can take a punch too. He works on his chin. A lot of these fighters don't do the spin class. You know what the spin class is?
Yeah.
You sit there and you just spin till you're dizzy and hit pads. I think I demonstrated it on one of my videos. I took it down. But I make my fighter turn till he's dizzy and then hit pads. That's the same as you getting punched and still continuing. It's mindset.
That is, wait. Pause. That is probably one of the most revolutionary things I've ever heard in my life. Because me and Jeff talk about it all the time. I'm gonna talk about a fighter who's about to fight this weekend, Dylan White. Dylan White is probably one of the best fighters, and I know we got knocked out by Povetkin, but he's one of the best fighters at fighting hurt. And I just wondered, is it something you can train on, whether you fight hurt or is it just practice? But what you just said there is a fantastic idea. I mean, I didn't even think of that. But for those who want to learn how to fight hurt, that's a fantastic strategy. I mean,
I do it with my fighters. I make them spin, and they're real dizzy. Now hit pads. They're like, oh my God. Like, I said, now you see what it feels like to fight when you get hit and you don't know you hurt. And
that's a fantastic.
You can't lose your ability to focus. You gotta just stay focused.
That's revolutionary, bro. I've never heard of that in my life. I've never heard of that in my life. That's a revolutionary idea, trust me. Moving down to the next comment. Sule, again, thank you for the comments. what do you think about Mayweather saying he's going to be working with Anthony Joshua for undisputed fight? Can Mayweather help make heavyweights, or is more of a publicity stunt? Can I answer that question first?
Yeah.
To me, Anthony Joshua is the leader of his camp. If anybody knows Anthony Joshua, he leads his camp. So whilst he has major respect for Mayweather, he is always going to be the head of his camp. Mayweather is the person, he wants to be the head of his camp. So those personalities won't blend because you got two guys trying to be the A side in one camp. It won't work. Go ahead, Padman.
Well, what are you going to do with a couch coach anyway? What is Mayweather going to do? Pass with him? No. So you can only sit down and tell him what he needs to do. No disrespect to Mayweather. I love him to death. But what are you going to do for him? What? You're going to tell him what to do? First of all, every time I see Joshua throwing a left hook, his foot ain't even turning. So he's arm punching. And I made a comment on his post. Turn the foot, champ. Let's go, champ. Turn the foot. Turn the foot. You brought in another coach. We talked about this on one of our segments before. You bring coaches in that don't know what they're doing. You got to screen the coach, man. It's not about who you work with. You got to work with them first to see if they work.
Yeah.
You just don't say, I want you in my camp. I seen what you can do. No, you don't take that. You don't do that. Hey, let's work together for a little bit. See what it turns out to be. You just don't put a guy in your camp and then you get another coach in your camp, and all of a sudden you haven't changed a goddamn thing.
Literally.
You haven't changed shit.
Literally.
You want to crank a hook? You got to lean into that bitch. You can't arm punch, man.
I mean, one of the things that I see, and this is probably, and I don't want to say you're part of this because I haven't seen enough of your work at the world class level, so I won't put you in this category. But one of the things that I see constantly is trainers. They train a lot of their fighters on head movement or hand speed or punching combinations or punch power or whatever. But I don't see enough trainers train their fighters on footwork. I mean, Buddy McGirt's one of those who does, but other than Buddy McGirt, and I watch a lot of trainers' social medias, I don't see enough trainers train their fighters on footwork. What do you think of that? And whether you see it, you might see it more than me, but I don't see it enough.
Well, I like to work on feet. I take them to the field and do ladders all damn day and do circles all damn day. I mean, it's important, but I like to teach it when I'm doing pads so they can get the real thing.
Yeah, I get you.
You know, I like to teach the real thing. So even on the bag, practice it on the bag the same way. If a fighter works on the pads, shadow boxes the same way, and hits the bag the same way, he will fight the same way. So
I mean, do you get because one of the things that irritate me is when people say, "Oh, this guy's a great back foot fighter," but they go back in straight lines. I personally I find that the contradiction. So I mean, how? Because I'm glad you brought up, because there's one thing, and I feel like trainers isolated. Okay, so they have footwork and they'll have head movement and they'll have bag work and to me, I'm like, you gotta be able to do all of it together. So yeah. I mean, what's your opinion on that? I could be so wrong.
You got to work on everything, man. You got to work on, honestly, when you conditioning a fighter, you got to work on everything with weights, even as light weights. Like, I'll put my fighters on bands with weights. Okay, wow. Lift weights with bands. I put everything with bands so you can get that timing feeling. That feels like it just feels like rubber. You could just feel like you could just keep going and going and going. Just over and over and over.
Yeah, I get you. I'm going to run through these comments quickly and we're going to jump back in. So Bruce Cole says, spin class, damn. Yeah, that's crazy. I've never seen that in my life.
That's some good knowledge crazy. For you, Bruce.
Definitely. Dule says, that's some G14 classified training secret. That's funny. Bro, I'm going to keep it 100% real. I've never heard of that before. And I feel like I'm not gonna tell anybody that, but I'm just gonna say that what Coach Padman just said there, revolutionary. John Hugh, I don't think I've seen you before, so shout out to you if you're new subscribe. This is Coach Padman McGriff, one of the legendary trainers. Go subscribe to him, follow him on Instagram, Coach Padman everywhere around. Literally, you can't miss him. Legendary. Yard needs to work on footwork. How long does it take to train footwork with someone like that? And before you answer that, I've actually seen Yard train. I've been to Yard's gym before. I've seen Yard spar. And I'll tell you this now. From what I've seen, footwork doesn't seem high on the priority. And again, the reason why I say that is because his trainer, Tunde Ajayi, and you should know Tunde because Tunde's been in that Mayweather gym. He literally studied Floyd and Rogers' training game. And to me, I never seen Floyd and Roger train enough on footwork, and that's why Yard isn't training enough on footwork because Tunde has literally tried to mirror a guy that's 175 pounds with punch power like dynamite, and he tried to turn him into Floyd, and that's why we're having Anthony Yard's problem right now. But go ahead and address that, and please address that last part of the comment. How long does it take to train footwork with someone like that?
For somebody like Yard, what I would do and take him and teach him Cuban feet. Cuban feet means, here's another trick for you. Here's 2 feet. You throw the punch the same side, same hand. Throw the punch with the foot. Walk this one in front of it. Throw the punch with the next foot. Walk it in front of it. Walk. That's Cuban boxing. That's all Yard needs. And if he keeps his hands up, lights out for anybody in his way because the kid is an athlete. Stone cold athlete.
I said he's the most athletic fighter I've ever seen in my life in terms of athleticism. Like this guy's athletic. But go ahead and say what you're gonna say about Yard, your experience with Yard.
It's Cuban boxing is you just gotta learn to walk the feet. If you learn how to walk the feet, like you can destroy anybody with that. Like that would be a perfect fit for Yard because he doesn't have a style. Bottom line, he hasn't found one yet. So he's going off of sheer athleticism right now. Let that guy find a style because most of these athletes, they kill. They don't have a setup. They don't want to go in there and just slip and roll and box for a little bit and find what you're looking for and then lights out. They don't want to. They want to go in and get the big knockout and get the money. Take your time, man. It takes time.
Yeah, what did you work with Yard when he was at the Mayweather gym, or did you see him in the gym at any time or any school? Or Tunde?
No, I didn't even see him when he was in there. I was probably somewhere on the road.
I get you. It's so good. It's so good. Next question. What does the coach think of Ali and Hagler running in combat boots? Ali said he felt like he could fly afterwards.
Well, times have changed. People train different now. Back then, that was a gladiator thing back then. It's totally different now. I know one thing. Most athletes' feet fucked up. They ain't running in no combat boots right now. Now, you give me a soft sneaker, I'll climb anything. Combat boots, that's really old school. I doubt it if anybody is doing that now. But if you feel like that's your what is that word I'm looking for? If you feel like that's going to get you over the hump and get your mind right, everything's mindset. Then wear the boots. Wear the boots. If it's a confidence builder, wear the boots. Whatever works for you, anybody. If you want to wear the boots, fuck it, wear the boots. It's an opportunity. If it gives you confidence, and the next thing you say, yeah, man, I wore those boots. You got to try it out. Hey, you might benefit somebody else, bro. You might benefit someone else.
Yard's footwork is pathetic. This is what John Hughes said. Yard's footwork is pathetic. He can't cut off the ring. I'm going to keep it real. John Hughes, you actually seem like you know a bit about boxing, but I've never seen you before, so subscribe. The thing is with Yard, and I've said this so many times, like, he doesn't fight. Whilst he throws his hands quite quick, he doesn't fight with any urgency. Like, And to me, again, when he fight, and this is, I think it's fantastic that coach is on the channel, because he brought something up that's quite relevant with this Cuban boxing, 1 foot going, 1 foot forward. If you watch Yard for the whole fight, his legs are so wide apart. So to cut off any distance, it's impossible, because your foot is too wide apart. You can't trap anyone with your legs that wide. It's to walk someone down with your legs that wide is impossible. Any fighter who walks fighters down, at some point they have to square up, and as coach was saying, get those foot to travel distance. If you're trying to move side on like that, they know which way to do. You're just gonna spin you every time, because you can't turn around. So it's very easy for a fighter to see which way you're going when you're so wide apart with your feet.
Your feet too. Plus crossing your feet. Fighters should never cross their feet. If you're going left foot go first. If you're going right, even if the foot's behind you, that right foot still goes first. You don't cross feet ever. Fighters, you should know better than don't ever cross feet. As far as Yard goes, with his feet like this,
yeah,
he needs to put a band on it and spar, do pads, and hit the bag with the band on to make him have a habit. It's gonna take more than 21 days. Because it takes 21 days to make a habit. That habit right there is an old habit, and it's gonna take more than 21 days. You gotta put a band on it and box and spar and hit pads and hit the bag. You basically gotta be retrained again.
Personally, if I was in control of Yard's career right now, every sparring partner I'll tell them to run. Literally just run and try and get Yard to cut the ring off.
Yeah.
I'll get Yard fighting nothing but like water weights and light weights. But Yard can't hit just to trap them in the corner, because their feet's faster than his. Because Tyson used to train with lighter weight fighters, and that just got him so quick. He made him so much faster.
It's a patient thing. It's a thing where you got to be patient, and you actually got to have the instinct to think and say, my feet have to have a different personality than my hands, right? My feet have to have a different personality than my hands do, or you're not going to be able to understand it, because everything works together. Everything works.
Yeah, of course.
Everything works together, you know. Like some coaches, they'll start a fighter off, not even a fighter, not even an amateur, just a beginner. They'll start them off with the 1-2. No, you start them off with the bag, and then you let them spar a little bit with somebody that go green with them. You got to find out if they're wasting your time. Can they take a punch? I'm sorry. That's the key. I do it with my amateur kids. They came in. None of them had experience. I let them bang. Got them mouthpieces, got the shield on and everything. Some of the parents said to me, you think that's going to be right? Well, hey, you brought him over here. You said he wanted to box. So, you gotta find out now, not later.
I get it.
Later on, you be hurt.
Definitely.
You be hurt.
Very off. Sule says, very off topic, but were you disappointed in Keith Thurman's performance versus Pacquiao? Like Tim Brady said, he moved back in straight lines over and over again, and I thought I thought he was smarter than that. Go ahead and address that, coach.
I seen Thurman when what is that fighter's name? He fought him in his hometown. Used to be a really great fighter back in the days. Bald-head Spanish guy. What is his name? I can't remember his name. But I went to that fight. Somebody else.
Bald-head Spanish guy.
Yeah. What is his name? Damn.
You're not talking about Lopez, are you?
Huh?
You're not talking about Lopez, are you? This is early in his career.
Yeah, this dude was giving him liver shots, and he would not go down. He got on that bicycle and rode that bike out. And then he ended up swelling up dude's eye and breaking his nose in the fight at the end. But Keith Thurman needs more offense. Keith Thurman needs more offense. He's not busy as he used to be.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember when he went through that phase where people were calling him runtime Furman instead of one-time Furman? Like he was just running around for so long. I remember that phase he was
Right.
going through.
He's still a great fighter.
Yeah, definitely.
But fighters, they got to understand something. In this decade, this time and age, these fighters here are machines. You need some premium. These fighters now, remember how they used to say back in the days, oh, don't work out. That's too much for boxing. Shit. You got bodybuilders boxing.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
So, hey, this sport has changed. Either you got a chin and you don't. That's the bottom line. If you ain't got no chin.
Yard's Philly show looks imitation but unsound. This guy's a big Yard hater, I can tell that.
I know why though. I know
why
it looks that way. And no disrespect to his trainer, but there was some pad work that was linked. Woo. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't too good, man. It wasn't too good, man. And I don't know if it was his trainer, short black dude.
Yeah, Tunde Ajayi. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, he needs to come on and get a class from me, bro. For real. And that's on the strength on it, for real. Not to take nothing from him, but he needs to get a class from me, bro. Let me teach him the right way on them pads. Honestly.
I mean, I've met Tunde. He's a cool guy, but Tunde is part of the class of that whacking towards the hand stuff. He does do that a lot.
I would love to help him voluntarily because he's a coach. And it's constructive criticism. It's not hatred. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I get you.
It's constructive criticism. It's not hatred. But I probably can do a lot for him. I can probably do a lot for him.
The Cubans trained their fighters to punch different speeds and rhythm. How much do you see of that in the US gyms? Personally, that is probably that's a very good comment, by the way. The reason why that's a great comment is because I see a lot of fighters, they just throw punches at the same speed. And after a few rounds, like especially Tank, for example, Tank is a great fighter, but he's a fighter who throws most of his punches. Like he's got no curveball. Jeff always says he has no curveball. Everything's just the fastball all the time. You know, and how important do you think throwing at different speeds is, and how often do you see that in the US gyms?
Actually, none of it. Everybody's trying to be a one shot and pop. Everybody's trying to be a one shot and pop. Like they think they can, get the knockout and get the money. Like I said, nobody wants to box anymore. Like when Tank Davis knocked out Cruz, to me, Cruz was up because he was boxing him. He just made the biggest mistake of repeating the same bullshit.
Bro, wait. 1 second. This is how I know this guy knows about. I know you knew about boxing before, but me and Jeff, and I'll tell you, we got the same mind. Me and Jeff, everybody's like, oh, that's the knockout of the year. And me and Jeff were like, we looked at each other and we're like, what do you think about this knockout? And Jeff said the same thing I said. Leo Santa Cruz threw the same right hand 3 times in a row. Of course he's going to get counted. He repeated the same thing. And you just said the same thing.
He was going to pick one of them.
So to me, you can't be... It was easily telegraphed. He was throwing that straight right hand the same time. And me personally, I say the same thing. If you're going to throw the straight right hand and you're going to miss, you have to make sure you smother the counter. You have to smother it. So you fall in on that shot and you smother the counter. Like try tie up or something.
Tank had the mindset, like I mentioned all the time. They say, oh, he's going to do it again. Oh. See ya. Hey, he know better than that. Like his father told him to go out there, throw the 1-2, throw the 1-2, throw the 1-2. Look, you got other motherfucking weapons, dog. You was up on the scorecards. You was up on the scorecards.
Yeah.
You was up on the scorecards. Like, but Tank's tough, man.
Next, Sule again. Yards Philly show is saying Josh Kelly's Philly show is better. Bro, I'm gonna get, but that's not so saying much. It should be named Philly Hell after that Avenetian. Personally, this is what I say why that Philly show isn't better. The reason why I say that both of their Philly shows weak, because they both have the shoulder up, but they both don't use the shoulder to block. They both just keep the shoulder there, but Avenetian was still hitting him with right hand. If you got a Philly show, when someone's throwing that lead in right hand, that Philly show should just be hitting every time. It shouldn't be landing every time. But when in the Avenetian fight, it was landing all fight long. And I said that to Jeff after the first round. That right hand's landing too often.
I got some advice for him. Stop trying to be a Philly shell. Just put your hands up, man. Dip with the elbows touching the hip. Dip together. Stop turning and dipping. You want to show somebody you taking a punch, they go. You don't have to do all that garbage. Just sit down. It'll protect here and here. Just sit down. And then up the middle is always here for them uppercuts. I don't understand why people put so much, they emphasize more than what they should. You know what I mean? They do
that's important as well, for those who don't know what that means. I always say this, the best high guard is the ones who sit on their stomach. Sitting on their stomach, like compressing that body so your elbows are pressed against your defensive cup.
That hip
one of the greatest fighters at doing that right now, and I know he got absolutely pummeled against Charlo, but Derevianchenko does that high guard pretty good.
Yeah.
But John Hughes said, is there any forearm conditioning in boxing, the kind of thing martial arts do, conditioning their forearms on tires to make their forearms like iron to mess up opponents? Can you get to that?
Well, yeah. Is he just talking about forearms, or is he talking about punch forearms?
Forearms like to block shots, because some fighters you gotta punch your arms to get it lower.
You gotta shove it up there. You can't just. It has to go where the gloves at. If you go, like, MMA is usually here because of the back of the head. Even in boxing, and a lot of fighters get hit in the back of the head because when they bending over and try to play defense. You should be sitting down. Your eye coordination should be right at him, at his chest. Now, when you hold pads, you should be looking at the pads to make your eye coordination to look at the chest when you do box. That's why you got them focus mitts and they have a circle in them. They're called focus mitts. Right? You look at the pads. If you look at the pads, you'll get better at hitting anything. I tell my fighters, look at the pads.
The reason why that's such a great idea is because one of the things that I found, like even me, and again, I find, as I said earlier in the show, I feel like it's impossible to talk about boxing if you've never boxed. And I only went into boxing just so my punditry skills was better. And I realized how important pad work was, because, like, me personally, I used to miss the pads a lot. But like, when I miss, like, obviously I'm just like in the middle of a swing, you got a split second before you hit. So I used to miss the pads a lot. And the reason, what I found was, when I'm trying to counter someone, especially when I'm sparring and I try to counter someone, I miss, because just at that split second, my eyes go off the target. And what you're saying is fantastically right, like perfectly right.
And also, when fighters fight, everybody wants to storytell. You know what I mean by storytell?
No.
Storytelling.
Fair enough.
Why can't you leave it right here and shoot it? Right here. Turn the shoulder right here, right in front of you. Your hand should be in front of you at all times, because you can catch anything in front of you. You can turtle up, you can turtle shell anytime you want to. Anytime you want to. Just don't go. Like
the General Jeff says the Philly show sucks. Definitely. John Hughes back in the comments. Shout out to you. Is the Serge Grokowski spine engine known about and trained in boxing for leverage? I've never heard of that spine engine in boxing, but you might have known about it. I've never heard of it.
Not familiar with it. That's the first time I heard it.
Me as well. What up with Jet? What's up G5 and the panel here? What's up D Hodges? Good there from me as well. The Philly show. I think you're saying I'd say the Philly show is something that has to be taught early in the boxers very young career. Personally, I just feel like it works with certain fighters and it doesn't work with some fighters.
I was getting ready to say it. It's not made for everybody.
Yeah, certain people don't have the dimensions for it. For me, like I feel like, go ahead.
You can learn it early and still let it fade out down the road because it ain't working for you.
To me, I feel like someone who has a good Philly show, for one, they have to have very long arms because your backhand, right hand has to be able to reach your opponent. And with you being so lean back, if your arms are short, your counter right hand ain't gonna be there. The reason why it worked on Floyd for so long was because his arms for his proportion of his body was so long. Yeah. Another dimension that you have to have is you can't have a long neck with a Philly shell. Well, you can, but it's very difficult because you're blocking your shoulder with the Philly shell. But if your neck's so long, your chin's still in the air. So again, it comes down to dimension.
Can you see Wilder doing the Philly shell?
That's my point. That's a good point. Like, there's not a point trying to teach everybody a Philly shell. Or someone like Tyson. It wouldn't work with someone like Tyson because his body's too square and it's too much of a target if you turn himself to the side. So Bruce goes says salute. They say salute to each other. Shout out to you guys. Sule says James Toney claimed that Philly show stole the style from Detroit. Is there truth in James Toney calling it Detroit show?
Well, back then it was just called the shoulder roll.
Yeah, I know. Everybody was maintaining,
and that was before Philly. I think it could be like maybe early 60s.
The reason to me, maybe. And I feel like
might be earlier than that.
I mean, you're from near Philly, so you would know. I mean, what's it called? Speaking of that, I wasn't Ezard Charles doing the shoulder roll, and he was fighting in the 50s. So Ezard, if you go into YouTube right now, Ezard Charles used to use the shoulder roll. I swear to God. But you being from Philly, you should know that one of the greatest gifts, well, not from Philly, but near Philly, one of the greatest gifts of fighters from there is they're very good at catching punches, like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So I assume that's why they say they got the Philly shell, because Philly shell is all about catching. Maybe that's why. I don't know. You would know more than me on that topic.
I used to do a lot of shoulder roll pad work. Slip off the shoulder, start under the combination, slip off the shoulder, do a different combination, roll back to the other side. But be versatile. Because the only time I usually tell my fighters to use the Philly shell when they're on the inside. That's the only time I really tell them to use it. They don't use it on the mid-range. And Orthodox doesn't use it. Orthodox fighters.
And personally, I would say, but whilst you say that, when you're walking someone down, like you're trying to close the distance, I don't see why you would use the Philly shell neither. Because the reason why, because it's very difficult to close distance with legs so far apart.
Yeah.
My point. It's very difficult.
Then plus you're gonna skip sideways to him. You're gonna skip sideways to him. On that skip, you gotta be careful because that left hook can come.
Exactly.
That left hook can come from your opponent. You're gonna skip sideways to him with your Philly shell. Like you're at the playground.
I was gonna ask you a question. while we have you on the channel, I've always wanted to ask trainers this, and I don't think I would get a better, more honest opinion. Right now, when you look at the current environment when it comes to trainers, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the style where it's more I will create a style specific for my fighter, or any fighter that I train with, they have to adopt my style? What kind of stuff?
I want to create. I want to see what the fighter got, what's his strong point, what's his weak points, what to stay away from, what to work on. Oh, I want to create that's where I'm flawless at that. I could take a fighter. It don't have to be his way. Like a lot of my fighters was in camp, they all had different styles. and I was okay with it because
You
that's
are
the type
probably
of
one of the only trainers that do that, because the reason why I say that is because I'm gonna list you some names, and I respect these trainers all the way through. But like people like, and one of my favorite trainers, Buddy McGriff, but a lot of Buddy's trainers, fighters, they have similar like idiosyncrasies. Another one is Derek James from who trains Spence and Charlo. A lot
yeah,
of those fighters have similar styles. Obviously, Abel Sanchez, a lot of his fighters have similar
yeah.
styles. Over in England, Robert McCracken, he changed most of his fighters have similar styles. Shane McGuigan, a lot of these. I can't think of one. Even Floyd Senior, a lot of his fighters have similar styles. I can't think of one trainer right now. And even Lomachenko's dad, he trained Usyk and Vodzik and Loma to all fight the same. I can't think of any fighter that trains their fighters specific to their needs and
You
not
gotta
the other
you
way
gotta find
around.
a style. You gotta find a style. You gotta see what the fighter likes to throw. You gotta see his weak points, his strong points. You gotta work on them. You gotta work on feet, agility, mobility, turning, stepping, fading, pulling, even teaching them how to grab and throw punches. Teach them how to slide the hands down and punch after you pull the hand down. But there's not just to pull the hand down. You finish it with the combination. Why pull the
Yeah,
hand down and give him one punch? Pull the hand down, give him 1, 2 punches. Don't give him
yeah.
just one.
I mean, it's a bit difficult to ask you this question. I'm gonna get to your question, John Huber. Who would you say is your favorite trainers right now outside of yourself? Because as you said, you still like to learn. So, which trainer right now would you say you like to learn the most of, or you feel like is a top trainer?
You know, I used to follow um, Mondo, Mondo Boxing, my man. Uh, Charles Mooney, older guy. I learned a lot from them guys, but as I got older, I just got better than them guys because they're older. You know,
Yeah, evolution.
they were probably my age. They give me a run for their money, but they're older, and I'm more of an athlete that's training fighters. I'm an athlete. I still spar with my guys. I run with my guys. You know, I like boxing myself. I still box too. You know, even though I'm close to 60 years old, but I'm still healthy, strong, love the sport, or I wouldn't be doing it. My job is my
Yeah.
hobby. So how can I complain about anything? You know, I'm
What about
doing
in the
something.
modern day? What about nowadays? Who do you like watching in terms of trainers now?
Uh, I don't even know, man. I can't really say that I'm too fond of any of the trainers because I look at myself on how I train people, and I say, well, shit, I'm just fucking totally different than these guys. I'm an athlete. These guys ain't like me. It takes nothing away from them, but shit, I'm an athlete. I'll sit there and do, if I got to correct something, I'm going to do it repeatedly over and over repetition, and I'm not going to be mad about it because that's what I do for a living. It's my job. I want it right before you go home. I want to give you confidence before you leave this gym to say you did it. I don't care if you threw 9,000 punches. If that's what it took you to get a one punch right, then throw the 9,000 punches. And that's what it takes to change a person's style. Okay, you look good doing this. Okay, let's add this to it. Oh, you already know that. You threw that 9,000 times. That shouldn't be a problem for you. Now you should feel comfortable when you spar to use it. How do you feel when you go to spar and you use it? What is your defense like? What is your hand placement like after you finish the punch? Like, are you using your mindset? Are you thinking? Are you doing what you're supposed to do when you're in that ring? Because it's a kill to be killed business, or it's a hit and not get hit business. It's a hurt and not get hurt business. So those are some of the examples of what you're facing in this business. It's like a mob with hands, you know? It's like you don't
Yeah,
need to have a registered gun. You're a mob with hands and you're getting paid for it. You're getting paid to take somebody out with your hands. And these bad boys got to be bricks when you come in there. So all you guys stop shadow boxing like this. Ball your goddamn fist up and go old school. This is old school. This is what this is. If you're gonna box and you shadow box with your hands balled up. It don't say it have to be hard, but it's a reminder It's a
I got
reminder.
some comments. I'm gonna run through them quickly. Do you train fighters to be ambidextrous and switch hitters, or is it something that's natural and you don't
Yes.
train?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I teach them how to walk the feet secretly to put you on the other side.
You said that in the last live. You're saying
Yeah.
that to
And
Eve last time.
that's what I wanted to do with Heath. But Heath left me so early, and I wanted him to come back because Heath didn't tell me when he was here in camp that that's what he wanted to do. If he'd have told me that's what he wanted to do, man, I'd have perfected it a long time ago better than what it is now. And that's no disrespect to him. It's just constructive criticism. It's not hatred.
Of
I'm a
course.
coach. This is what I do. I can pick a fighter apart all day. I don't care who he is. That's how long I've been in this business. Some
Do
people
you
might not
see?
like it. Oh, well.
Yeah, of course. Do you see? Um, do you see? How do you see Baturbia versus Bivol going?
Far.
I think I've
Great,
come.
great career. Great career.
I mean, who do you think wins between Baturbia and Bivol?
Ooh. I don't know. They both good. They both got great, great careers. They're good fighters. I don't know, man. That's
That's the
that's a
fact that
hard
me and
one.
Jeff go back. That's the fact me and Jeff go back and forth on all the time. So, personally, I just feel like I
Bival's
don't know,
tough, man.
man.
Bival's tough, man. He's tough, but I don't know. I don't know. I just can't call it. There's gonna be a lot of holding.
Do you think the rise in popularity of Terence Crawford is going to make more up and coming boxers try to become switch hitters? Do you also think Crawford can go undisputed at 147? I'll answer the last part. No, he definitely won't go undisputed at 147 because Spence won't fight him. But you can answer the first part.
Yeah, you know why Spence won't fight him? Because he doesn't want to go on the B side. Well, to me, Terence Crawford is a better fighter than Errol Spence. Errol
Yeah.
Spence's last fight, I mean, besides the car accident, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad he's safe and God bless him. But he looked like shit. He didn't look like the old Spence. He didn't look like the old Spence, that go-getter mentality. He fought Garcia, right?
Yeah.
He should have knocked Garcia out.
I mean,
Truthfully.
Garcia's tough.
But he should have knocked Garcia out. Seriously, that's how good Spence used to look.
I mean, I keep it real. Personally, I can't tell you the last time I saw Spence actually knock someone out. So, I mean, he went the distance with Mikey, and I was a bit upset with that. The fact that he went the distance with Mikey, I thought that was a bit
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Mikey Garcia.
Yeah,
With Mikey Garcia.
When Mikey went up 2 weight classes to fight Spence
Yeah.
and went 12 rounds with him, I was thinking, whilst Errol won every round, I was just thinking, you should have stopped him. I mean, and people are saying he's going to stop Crawford. I just find that a bit crazy because how does he stop? Yeah, I can't tell you the last time he stopped someone, Errol Spence.
Yeah, I just knew Garcia wasn't going to beat him. I knew he wasn't going to beat him. But that was a good matchup. Like I said, Garcia came in on the B side and he made some money, but he knew he wasn't going to knock out or win that Errol Spence fight. Bottom line.
Who would you say right now, like, is the top 5 guys you would definitely want to train? If you could wake up tomorrow and say, these are the 5 guys I definitely want to train in the sport, who would they be? List them one by one.
Wilder would be first.
Wilder be one.
Because I love Wilder and I'm just tall enough for him. I just know where to. I just know how to train him. I just know how to make him versatile.
If you ever get Wilder, just hit us up with a hookup, man.
I'm just gonna take Wilder and give him light heavyweight hands. And that's what Fury is. He's a heavyweight with light heavyweight hands. Do you understand that? Like,
Yeah, I get what you
that
mean.
is the honest to God's truth. That is the honest to
I
God's truth.
mean, the thing with it is, and I say this all the time, and me and Jeff break down Fury all the time. Fury has a clear mistake that in his however long career, no one's ever decided to go after it. Is when this guy leaves out the back door, you would know what leave out the back door means, but other guys won't. When he's just finished an exchange and he's caught in transition, so from offense to defense, he does this thing where I was just about to say that. This is why he keeps stealing my ideas. He pulls out with his hands and his head drops up, and he pulls out with his hands down and his head in the air. He does that all the time.
Wilder dance. We're gonna call it the Wilder
dance. But that's exactly what he does. And what I tell people this all the time is when Fury gets knocked down, if you look at his career, whenever anybody tries to catch him in transition, when Package done it, when Chisora done it, when Steve Cunningham done it, and when Wilder done it, they always hit him when he's in transition, when he's gone from offense to defense. Because what he does is this thing where he tries to move his feet and his head at the same time. And his head moves back quicker than his feet. And what you get is this lean motion where it goes like this. And he starts to tipple over, just like that. And when you land that shot, your equilibrium's gone and you tip over. That's why every time Fury gets knocked down, he lands on his back. Every single time. Every time in his whole entire career he's been knocked down, he lands on his back because he tries to go from offense to defense. And as he does it, starts to tip over, gets hit, and falls on his back. And that happens every single time.
He's getting caught. He's getting caught going back.
Exactly. And nobody's ever tried to if I was a trainer, I would just say, listen, catch this guy in transition. Wait for him to come forward. As soon as he makes that step forward, ambush him. Every single time. As soon as he makes that step forward, ambush him. What people do is wait for him to go backwards and then chase him. I think that's too late. He's already going backwards. You have to wait for him to step forward, then catch him in transition. And I feel like
even when Wilder fought Ortiz, he threw that punch from down here. When he dropped him. He threw it way down here. It was way down here, man. It was way down here.
Who was the other four? The other fighters you said you would want to train.
That would be, I don't even know, man. A lot of them have their own ways and they set and they ain't willing to change. And that's my biggest thing. Like, I like everybody to finish punches on the pads just as well as the bag. I don't play practice on the pads. You throw heat all the time. If you throw heat all the time, you'll throw heat all the time. Yeah. My fighters do like, all right, throw me 2-3-2. Oh, whoa. Why the fuck you practicing it? I said throw 2-3-2. Bang, bang, bang. I don't want bang, bang, bang. What you gonna do with a BB gun? What you gonna do with a BB gun? You need a Glock. Bang, bang, bang. You know, you need a Glock. You don't need a BB gun, bro.
How do you feel about Canelo not going undisputed in the division with Charlo, Golovkin, and Andre to become undisputed in the division with Callum Smith? Because I spoke about this before. So Sule, you must be stealing my what's it called? my ideas. But I've been saying that before. But what do you think about him deciding to go undisputed at a weaker division instead of the better division?
Well, you know, Charlo brothers is more physical, you know, and I don't think Canelo is as physical as they are. Canelo's feet is horrible, but he's a great puncher.
Horrible. He's very good. He got poor feet.
Everybody he's fought, he walks them down slowly and just shoots that Jersey Joe Wilcox hook. Shoots the motherfucker all the time. That's because he's putting pressure on people. Ain't nobody.
Can I ask you a question? You're a coach, and to me, and I don't want it to make a race thing, But I've noticed a common trend that a lot of Mexican fighters, especially this new wave of Mexican fighters, they have very bad footwork. Why do you reckon that is?
Well, they teach them how to punch, but they don't teach them feet. You see Ryan Garcia's feet?
Exactly. I mean, Ryan Garcia's one, Andy Ruiz is one, Jaime Munguia's one,
Yeah.
Canelo's one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Terrible feet.
I mean, I'm just thinking like, why you again? They're just Mexican fighters, and I just feel
Because
like
people are not taking the time to study their opponents. People ain't taking the time to study their opponents. They're too worried about getting paid anymore. Study your opponent. You want to be a champion pedigree fighter, study your opponent. Take the time and study your opponent. Like give yourself an opportunity to make things happen the right way. Study your opponent. I got a UFC fighter that's coming in. I've been studying her opponent. I'll be training her until September 17th. She fights on ESPN.
After we get through these comments, I'm literally going to ask you about where you at right now, and then we're going to wrap it up. Crawford would have punished Mikey at 140 or 147. Same with Danny, left 140 just to get constantly beat at 147, and now Danny wants to move to 154. What do you think about Crawford versus Mikey? How would you have seen that fight going?
I like Crawford because he could take it
Me
on
as
the
well.
chin and keep going. I seen him take it on the chin and keep going. Sometimes he gets a little suspect right here. He needs, if he shuts down his middle a little bit more, he'll stay champion.
I mean, he's fantastic. But again, this is how I know you're a guy who studies the sport, because not many people say the same thing that I say. No fight is above criticism, and I think the one thing about Crawford is when he's on the offense, his shots are quite wide, and if
Yeah.
you got a good fighter who can punch in between those shots,
Oh,
you might
uppercut
be able
all
to
day.
get a good
Uppercuts all day.
Exactly. But everybody's got criticism, so I'm glad you're one of the fighters you noticed it. Jeff said, "Coach, we need to be charging people for this knowledge, bro. 100%." I mean, what I want to do, honestly, like the coaching manuals, like I don't off the live, I'll talk to you about it, because some of the methods that you have, personally, are just revolutionary, and I feel like they literally need to be
Thank you. Thank you.
put into compartments and literally just distributed separately. But definitely, how do you see Saunders' chances against Canelo? That's
a good one.
he spoke about this on the last
I
live, but
know. If he's not nasty, he's not. Listen, if you go the distance and you get a draw, that's all you're going to get. You're not beating Canelo unless you knock his ass out. That's the bottom line.
Facts.
Come on, man. Think about it. First of all, it's
That's
money involved. If he gives Canelo a run for his money, Canelo's still walking away with them belts. If you ain't knocking out champions like him, you're going home with just money and no belts. Trust me. It's
I can't argue.
God's fucking truth, man. It's a politics thing, man. They be trumping these fighters, bro.
Yeah, I know. Where are you right now? Who are you working with right now in terms of boxing? I mean, like, who are you working with right now in terms of boxing? Who should we look out for? Where's Coach Padman right now in his boxing?
I got a fighter getting ready to make his debut. His name is Hunter Vanines. He's from California, young kid, hungry, been training for years.
Before his first professional fight, get him. Let's try to hook up some interview for him. That would be dope on Jeff's channel.
He's coming down to do camp for a month before he fights in Mexico. He'll be here on the 1st. And
so we'll try. I don't want to really disrupt his camp, but if you could get that done,
he would love the opportunity. He's a young kid. He's hungry. He's smart. He's clean cut, and I'll take that over a top fighter with a fucked up background any day, my man. Because the shit that I go through with fighters, you hire me to be authority over you. You hire me to be your boss. That means you need to respect my domain. You need to respect who I have around you. You need to respect my family.
Do you ever, I mean, I spoke to another journalist one day, and he said some trainers don't even like their fighter. Have you ever trained someone that you don't like personally?
Yeah. Yeah. I hated him from the beginning. And then I
You
gave him
mind
another
to share who that guy was?
Daquan Mays. Hype job Quan. Daquan Mays. I gave him 2 opportunities, bro. I let him live with me. I gave him everything he wanted. I turned him on. I didn't want to work. You want to just sit around. You're not going to sit in my house. I treat the fighters like family.
But
All the fighters, all the fighters I had in camp, all quit.
Wow.
Because they cannot handle it. My camp is only for real top fighters. My camp is hard.
I mean, what I find crazy is because, like, have you ever been, and I'm not saying you would do this, by the way, but if I hated someone or disliked someone that I was training, let's say they were getting pummeled in the ring, and it was my responsibility to throw in the towel. Do you not ever get a conflict of interest to think, you know what, let me actually not even throw in the towel. Let me just let this guy get destroyed. You ever does that thought run through your mind?
I have sentimental values, so I'm gonna keep it, So I'm gonna make sure they're okay. I can't let a person get hurt, even if I don't like them. There's only been one fighter that I've trained that I really didn't like, and that was Kenny Lunkins. I hated that motherfucker. but he put my career on the map, And then I was training all the black zillions in Florida because all the boxers in Florida didn't know me, and they didn't have a lot of respect for me because they didn't know me. Like I said, image versus character. And then when they see me do pads, don't judge me on pads. Judge me because I'm a coach. Just because my name is Padman doesn't mean that that's all I do. I do more than pads. Like, I teach camps, man. This is what I'm into. This is what I do for a living. I want to bring them. I want the best fighters. I want the best fighters to see if they can handle my camp. That's what I want. Let's work. 5 hours in the morning, 5 hours in the evening. Let's work. If you come to fight, you come for camp. You're going to work.
Do you cook for your fighters as well?
Everything. Nutrition and all. I got a 5-bedroom home, pool, everything. 4-car garage, huge nice boxing gym in my home.
So when I go over to the States, I need to be going to the gym.
Come on, man. You staying here. You're gonna stay here.
That's dope. You're
gonna stay here, bro.
Do what Ace says. I think Billy folds over. Billy Joe looked horrible in his last fight, and his quality win was in 2017. I think Saunders' goal is to survive 12 rounds, so him and Callum could argue who lost better. Nah, Billy Joe Saunders. One thing I'll say about Billy Joe Saunders, whilst I think he's gonna lose, he has a much better mentality than that. This guy's a gypsy. Gypsies don't give up. They don't give up. He's not gonna go in there just to lose. Trust me. He's gonna believe he wins. He might lose, but he's definitely gonna go in with a winning mentality. What do you think?
Who's coaching him? David?
No, Mark Tibbs. I like Mark Tibbs. Mark Tibbs.
Who's Mark Tibbs? Is he the one that was coaching with Fury?
No, he's the one who coached Mark. No, that was David. He was training Dylan White. That's who he was training. Mark Tibbs trained Dylan White on the 12. He trained Dylan White, and Dylan White won 12 fights on the spin. Then Dylan White dropped him and then got knocked out by permission. The fight after, he got rid of Mark Tibbs. Mark Tibbs is a top trainer.
Dylan White don't have no feet neither.
No, he doesn't. That's been his problem from his pro days.
Yeah. He doesn't know how to space out his mid-range. He's not sure of his style. That's the biggest problem. He's not sure of his style. You got to have a style, and you got to keep your style. And you also have to be, all fighters got to be a dictator. If you're not a dictator, you can forget about it.
I've always said Dylan White should be a line in the sand type fighter where when you cross this line, boom, you're in problems. That's what I've always said that. he should have been
Well,
that type of fighter, but he gives up too much real estate a lot of the time, and I find that a bit weird.
which one do you want? Which one is going to protect you? This or this?
Of course, the close high guard, isn't it? I think Robert Garcia hated Margarito with the way he let Pacquiao damn near kill him. Now that's just Mexican guys. They just don't throw in the towel, to be honest.
All day. All day.
What other sports that someone learned growing up has good crossover for boxing? That's a good question. That's a fantastic question.
Football players. All day. Football players. All day. And there's some basketball players.
What about dancers? What about dancers?
Dancers?
Yeah, I'm just asking. I just thought maybe if you got good dancers, good feet. I don't know.
I don't know any dancers, but I tell you what.
Okay.
I tell you what. If a fighter ain't got no rhythm, go take a salsa class, man. That's some knowledge from me. Go take a salsa class.
I can see why. It's because boxing's all about rhythm. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Timing and rhythm, definitely.
Yeah. Just take a salsa class. That's all you got to do. You take a salsa class, won't nobody be able to find your ass in that ring.
I'm gonna let you close up by you just saying who. Look at Jeff says Shane. Look at salsa dancers all the time. Lol. I don't always look at salsa dancers. I just feel like the truth is, yeah.
I gotta see your. Hey, let's see who salsa dances is the best. Mine's or yours.
I'm not gonna lie. I keep it real, yeah. I'm whilst you're an athlete, I'm extremely fast. So
you got rhythm. You got rhythm. You just like me. You got rhythm. You know what I'm saying?
I got rhythm. I got rhythm. I'm not gonna lie. I can dance. I'm a very good dancer.
Hey, this is funny too. You know, I was a break dancer, right? I did McDonald's.
Seriously?
I did McDonald's, JCPenney's, and Kaufman's commercials. I don't know if you know them stores. You know.
No, I heard, of course. Yeah.
But when I lived in Pittsburgh, I was like top of the line break dancer. My nickname was Mr. Windmill.
That's fun. That's a funny story. Those Ukrainian dancing fellas, I think Usyk and Loma used to dance traditionally. Yeah, they dance again. I just feel like dancing must help with your balance, your rhythm, your footwork, definitely your coordination. Yeah. I assume so. And as Padman says, if you ain't got rhythm, go take a salsa lesson. Yeah.
I used to take my fighters in Florida and take them to the salsa class. Let them do salsa.
I mean, you got so much brilliant training methods. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I could be on it all day, but yeah, bro, just go through what you have up right now and what's going on. And
well, I got a UFC fighter. I got a UFC fighter that I'm helping with her boxing right now. And other than that, I don't have any fighters in camp at the moment. I had one fighter.
Is that due to COVID?
I'm sorry?
Is that due to COVID?
No, that's by choice. That's by choice because, you know, I got this thing that is happening for me. I'm going to China for 2 months to train the Chinese Olympic team because I'm vaccinated now, you know. So I'm going there to train for 2 months, but they've been trying to hire me for 1 year.
So I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to cut that right here. And we're going to get you on next week to talk about part 2, Coach's Confessions. We're going to speak about the China Olympic team and how that's going to come about.
I'll have all the details too.
We're also going to speak about what I think is a great, great topic is how to increase punching power. That's what we're going to talk about. Coach Padman is going to give us next week manual on how to increase punching power.
Oh, that'll be great.
Literally, guys, get your notepads and your pens because when this guy's in session, it's literally just straight genius. I mean, you're not getting this anywhere else. This guy's a straight genius. I want to thank you very much for jumping on. I know Jeff says thank you so much, Coach. Great job,
Jeff. We love you, brother. And I miss your face on here, man. I can't wait to see you and talk to you. The show was amazing today, and I look forward to Wednesday again.
Yeah, it's gonna be Wednesday. I mean,
Wednesday.
For those who don't know, we got we supposed to have 2 interviews tomorrow, potentially an interview on Friday.
Right.
And if we don't have an interview on Friday, we're gonna break down the Dylan White undercard and Dylan White fight, and then
that's gonna be nice. That's gonna be nice.
But yeah, definitely Coach Padman gonna be on next week, which will be a fantastic show.
Every week, man, we gonna discuss something new every week, man. Give the people the knowledge, man, that they need to help fighters become better fighters and understand the game a lot better.
This is definitely proof that Coach Padman, like, revolutionary. Like, what you're gonna hear is straight off the cuff, straight raw and straight unorthodox, but it's straight real. So I want to thank you for that. This is the first episode of Coach's Confessions with Coach Padman.
Yes. You guys can check me out on Instagram at Coach Padman Official, and also on Facebook, William McGriff Boxer Trainer, also, and on TikTok, Padman McGriff also.
Definitely. I mean, go on there. He's posting clips of different guys literally nearly every week. I mean, he posted one this week of a young Teofimo Lopez. I found that fantastic, really interesting. I mean, he's been in the business for years and he's got so much work. He's so easily contactable as well. Like, this is a guy who literally just messages you out of nowhere off the blue. So he's so humble with it. So, John Hugh, thanks for jumping in the building. Literally, I don't know if this is your first show, but thank you again. Thank you, Padman McGriff. Thank you for everybody who's jumping in. I think it was too many names to do a road call, but yeah, thanks very much.
Until next week.
Next week, we should get it. As Jeff always likes to say, on behalf of G5 Jeff TV, on behalf of me, Shane, on behalf of Coach Padman McGriff, we're out.
G5